Hello, welcome to this video. Today I'm going to be talking about callbacks. I'm going to some detail on callbacks, and then I'm going to talk about nodejs callbacks, because they've got their own way of doing call. It's the same thing, but they've got their own kind of thing, the way they do callbacks. So what I'm trying to do, this code here is trying to simulate an API. Now what I'll do, I'll show you an API. I'm calling JSON placeholder and I'm just getting one result back. Let me just make that a bit bigger. No, let me just get rid of that. Okay, that's better. So if I call this API, can you see it's got here, it took 292 milliseconds to get the data back. So it's probably caches the data, that's why it's gone quicker now. But can you see that? And if I look at the timings, you can see time to connect, negotiation and whatever. So it's a case of it's taking a lot of time to do the work, and APIs aren't the only thing to do that. You might say open the file, open the config file, read what the contents of the config file. That will take a lot of time to do it as well. So it's quite a few things do this. Now, what I'm discussing is callbacks. So what I've tried to do here is make a fake API. So all this is an API that, just imagine it's going to off-site to remote site and it's saying give me the weather, and it gets similar to this thing here. It gets the data here and then it does something with the data, like put it on a web page, or it might do something else with it. Okay, so to do this, I've created a set timeout here, and what we're after is this data here, because that's going to tell us what the temperature is. At the moment, I'll show you what it does. I'll run it once and I'll show you what it does. It just tells you the temperature. The temperature is 24 Celsius, and if I run it again, 40 Celsius now. So this is controlled by, this is just a random number thing, because I needed to show a random number so that I can demonstrate something else. So all this is you call the API, it tells you what the weather is, and there's a pause. At the moment, all it's doing is console logging the data, as you can see. That's all it's doing is this, and that's the pause. It's always going to be 200 milliseconds. Now, this is not much use to us because all it's doing is logging it to the console like this. And what we might want to do is we might want to put it in a variable, and once it's in a variable, we can do some other stuff to it. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new variable called weather, and I'm going to set it to nothing. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to, as well as console logging the data, I'm going to also I want the data. I want to get the data out so I can do something with it. Weather equals data. So now I'm getting the data out. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to call the API. Then I want to console log weather to I want the weather in uppercase. So let's see if that works. So I'm calling the weather API. Then I get the weather to uppercase. As you can see, I didn't get anything. It got nothing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this line here. Just so that we got less noise on the console. But anyway, so we got nothing back. So what is happening here is JavaScript is asynchronous, as in what it does is it sets it to nothing here. Then here we call that function here, and because there's a delay here, it doesn't wait for the function. If this was C#, what would happen is it would wait for the function that would finish, and then that variable will be set to this temperature, and then it will work. But because this is JavaScript, it doesn't wait for this. It goes to this line, then it goes to that. Now, one way I could fix it is I can take this line here and I can put it here, and then I can. So what I'm doing is I'm going to create a delay. One sec. So if I do this, and I can leave it at 200, and it should work now. Can you see that worked? So we was able to get the data out. Okay. So all we had to do is put a pause on this. However, that's not really a good solution, because these APIs, we don't know how long they're going to take to get the information. For instance, I've got this at 200, right? What if the API done it in 10 microseconds? Then I've wasted time. Or what if it done it in 201? Then I'll get this. I'll get nothing there. So we need this method of putting a pause there. What it means is we could call APIs, and then if we want to get the variable to do something with the information out the data, we'd have to put pauses on it. Like, for instance, we have to put a second, and that will guarantee that but that will slow our app down tremendously. So we need some way to get the information out of here. Okay. Now what we know is I'm gonna put okay, this under this line between this brace, this is where the information is received. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this, because this method of doing it will not work, so I'm going to get rid of that. You know what, I didn't notice this. That was supposed to be like this. But anyway, please ignore that and pretend that it was a function like this. But anyway, I'm going to get rid of that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another solution to this problem. And what I'm going to do is I don't want to do what we've done before, because as you saw, that method wastes time. It's not very good. So another thing we can do is this is when it gets the data. So what we could do is, if I could pass a function in here, right, then this is when the data, whenever we get the data, this is when, imagine this has been a success. You call it API, then it's got a success, or you, whichever way you look at it, there's going to be a part where you call the API and there's a piece of code, or there's somewhere where this is run. So what I can do is, in this function, I can pass in this variable called func, and I'm going to make func be a function. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to call function, and I'm going to pass in that data what we want, which is that. Okay, so now I've changed this. I've changed this function, so now it's got a parameter which is an actual function. So what I can now do is I can make another function here. So this is the function I'm going to make. I'm going to make a function here. And that's all it's going to do. It's going to console log E, and it's going to put to upper. So it's going to be doing the same as what it was doing before. So that's all it's going to do. It's going to do that. Now what I could do now is get this function. I could feed it into this like that. So what's going to happen now is, when I run this, it's going to get this function here and pass it in here as a variable. So when it does that, it does the set timeout, it pauses, and then it gets here. Instead of doing console log, which it was doing before, and all we could do is log it to the console, and we couldn't do anything else with it. Now, it's going to run the function that I passed in, and it's going to pass in, instead of doing console log data, it's going to do function data. And this function is this function, and this function takes the E, which is the parameter, and it brings it to uppercase and console logs it. However, we didn't have to console log it. We could do other things to it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this again. And can you see? Our problem is solved. Now with this one, I can set this, the other one, I had to put a pause of a second, and then it worked, and then obviously, but look at this one. Whatever, I can change that to 2.2 seconds, and I can run it. So this is why they call it a callback. So this is the callback function, this here, and this is the actual callback function. and that is the function I'm calling. So what you'd say is you just say it takes a callback function, and it's exactly what it's called is exactly what it says. So what it does is it does some work. As soon as it finishes, it calls you back telling you I'm finished, and then you can do anything you want. Like here, I'm passing this in, so I can do anything I want with it. Okay. There you go. I've got the information. So now this is what a callback function is. There's nothing else special about it. This is just what a callback function is. So now that I've got that out of the way, what I'm going to now do is talk about Node.js. Because in Node.js, they've got callbacks, but the callbacks, they're in a certain style. Okay? So most of Node.js, but for instance, in Node.js, you might say, okay, I want to read a file from the file system. And that, because it's async, it's going to have a callback. And most of the callbacks in Node.js have the same kind of signature. Okay? Now this callback, we just pass a function in, and a lot of callbacks that you see will only pass in one function, but Node is a bit different. Now what I want to now do is I want to change this program slightly, just so that I can demonstrate a Node function. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put if okay. So I'm going to just do that. Okay, what I need to do is now I'm doing a Node function. Now maybe I may not be 100% accurate. Let me just check this. Okay. So in this one, we're going to run function and we're going to have error. So it's going to have two parameters instead of one. error data. So it's going to have to take a function that's got two parameters. So I have to change this to two parameters. I'll call them the same thing. And I'm going to change that to if now I'm just console logging it, but you could do anything with it that you want. So now this is now how you do it in Node.js. The only difference is it's got an error function. Like for instance, if I call the API, there's going to be a success and an error, success and fail. So success, you set the error function to null, and if it was an error, you just get the error, pass it back, and you set the data to null. And that's how it would work in Node.js. So now I've done my Node.js. So I'll talk about it a bit. In Node.js, most functions are of this form. Most callbacks are of this form. Function, error, data. Okay. That's the kind of callbacks you get. So what it is, I've made a callback here of that form. So that's a Node.js callback, and that's how to do it. And then this one here, it will throw an error if the temperature is over 33. So let me run it now and see what happens. Okay, something failed. Okay, let me just change that. It's taking a bit too long. Something failed again. I think I've made a mistake here. Either I've made a mistake or I'm just unlucky. Okay, I made a mistake. Okay, that's where the error is. So I'll start that again. Okay. Cancel. Okay, it should work now. So what it will do, I'm just trying to demonstrate something that shows errors. So just like shows an error, and there you go. Okay, so that's it. That's a callback, and that I showed you a callback, and I showed you how this is how a callback would happen in Node.js. Hope you enjoyed the video. Till next time, bye.